One woman stole more than $4 billion, fooled 3.5 million people across the planet, packed Wembley Arena like a rock star, bought penthouses, a yacht and a title she invented herself, the Cryptoqueen. Then she boarded a budget flight to Athens, and vanished off the face of the earth. 9 years later, the FBI still can't find her. There is a $5 million bounty on her head. She is one of only 11 women ever placed on the FBI's 10 most wanted list. And here's the part that keeps investigators up at night. She might already be dead. Murdered, by the same people who were paid to protect her. This is the story of OneCoin, the cryptocurrency that never existed. A fake coin, sold with real greed, that drained savings from London to Kampala. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how she pulled it off, the one phone call that made her run, and the theory about what really happened to her. And that last part will genuinely disturb you. Stay with me. Because this story gets darker at every turn. To understand the biggest Ponzi scheme in crypto history, you need to meet the woman behind it. Ruja Ignatova was born in Ruse, Bulgaria, in 1980. Her family emigrated to Germany when she was 10. And by every measure, she was brilliant. A PhD in law from the University of Constance. A degree from Oxford. A consulting job at McKinsey, advising banks and billion-dollar funds. She spoke 4 languages, wore red ball gowns and diamond earrings, and introduced herself as Dr. Ruja. On paper, she was the most credible person ever to sell you a coin. But there was a warning sign, buried in a small town in Bavaria. In 2012, Ruja and her father bought a struggling steel mill in Waltenhofen. Within months, it collapsed into bankruptcy under suspicious circumstances. Machines disappeared. Money moved in strange directions. German prosecutors charged her with fraud, 24 counts. She quietly accepted a suspended sentence, paid, and walked away. The lesson she took from that failure wasn't to stop. It was to think bigger. Because in 2014, as Bitcoin was minting its first millionaires, Ruja spotted her opening. Millions of ordinary people had heard that crypto could make you rich. But almost nobody understood how it actually worked. That gap, between hype and understanding, was worth billions. She just needed a product, a stage, and a salesman. The salesman was Sebastian Greenwood, a Swedish veteran of multi-level marketing schemes. Together, in 2014, they launched OneCoin from an office building in Sofia, Bulgaria. And here's the genius. OneCoin didn't sell coins. Not officially. It sold education. Trader packages, from €140 all the way up to 118,000. Buy a package, and you'd get plagiarized PDF lessons about crypto, plus tokens, which supposedly mined new coins for you. The bigger the package, the more coins. And the value of one coin only ever moved in one direction. Up. Except, that price wasn't set by any market. It was typed into the system by the company itself. Because here is what nobody saw coming. OneCoin, a cryptocurrency with millions of investors, had no blockchain. None. Real cryptocurrencies live on public ledgers, verified by thousands of computers around the world. OneCoin's balances existed only as numbers in a private SQL server in Bulgaria. Numbers her staff could edit like a spreadsheet. Your coins weren't rising. They weren't falling. They did not exist. Meanwhile, the recruitment engine roared. Every new believer you brought in earned you a commission, paid partly in real cash, and partly in more fake coins. It was a pyramid, dressed as a revolution. In its first 2 years, OneCoin pulled in over €4 billion of real money. And then Ruja booked the most famous arena in London. June 11, 2016. Wembley Arena, London. Giant screens. Pyrotechnics. Thousands of investors screaming like it's a rock concert. And then, to the sound of Girl on Fire, she appears. Dr. Ruja Ignatova, in a floor-length red ball gown and diamond earrings. She doesn't sound like a scammer. She sounds like a professor. And then she makes the promise that seals millions of fates. In 2 years, she says, nobody will speak about Bitcoin anymore. OneCoin is the Bitcoin killer. The crowd erupts. Phones light up. Believers fly home and empty their savings. Behind the curtain, the money was already flowing into a life of obscene luxury. A multi-million-pound penthouse in London's Kensington. A sprawling apartment in Sofia with a private spa. A yacht called Divina. Parties where champagne flowed and pop stars sang for a fee. Ruja bought respectability too. Sponsorships, magazine covers, an economic forum stage beside world leaders. But the whole machine had one fatal flaw. Investors could only cash out through OneCoin's own internal exchange. And that exchange had limits. Small packages could withdraw almost nothing. Then, in January 2017, without warning, it simply shut down. The only door out of the casino was welded shut. The famous public listing, the moment OneCoin would finally trade on real markets, was promised, postponed, and promised again. It was always 18 months away. It would always be 18 months away. And yet the money kept pouring in. Why? Because of what OneCoin had really built. OneCoin's true product was faith. Investors didn't call themselves customers. They were the One Life family. They wore the shirts, chanted at rallies, and dreamed in unison. Skeptics weren't debated. They were haters, paid by the banks. And it worked on ordinary, careful people. In Glasgow, a woman named Jen McAdam watched a webinar and invested €10,000. Money her late father, a miner, had left her. Then she convinced her family and friends to put in $250,000 more. On her screen, the balance grew and grew. She felt rich. She felt saved. None of it was real. In Uganda, entire villages invested together. Farmers sold their cattle. One family sold their land to buy packages, betting the harvest money on Dr. Ruja's promise. The scheme spread through churches, mosques, and family group chats. Trust passed hand to hand, door to door. From Hong Kong to Lagos to rural England, more than €4 billion flowed in from at least 175 countries. In China alone, police would later claw back hundreds of millions. And the cruelest part? The commission structure meant every victim was recruited by someone they loved. When it all collapsed, it didn't just take savings. It took marriages, friendships, entire congregations. But while the family believed, professionals were starting to ask a very dangerous question. In late 2016, a Norwegian blockchain developer named Bjorn Jerk got a strange phone call. A recruiter offered him a dream job. Chief Technical Officer for a hot cryptocurrency company. £250,000 a year. An apartment. A car. Jerk asked what he would be building. The answer made his blood run cold. They don't have a blockchain today, the recruiter said. We need you to build one. A cryptocurrency, with no blockchain, and millions of investors. Jerk turned the job down, and went public. He spent years warning anyone who would listen. The One Life family called him a liar. Some sent death threats. But the walls were closing in. Regulators in Britain, Germany, Hungary, and Italy issued warnings, and Italian authorities fined OneCoin's promoters millions. Chinese police arrested dozens of top recruiters. Journalists began pulling at threads that didn't hold. And inside the FBI, a quiet file was growing thicker. Because agents had found a way in. Ruja's American boyfriend, a money man named Gilbert Armenta, was being secretly recorded. Through him, investigators were listening to the Queen's own court. By the autumn of 2017, prosecutors in New York were ready. On October 12, a sealed warrant was issued for Ruja Ignatova's arrest. Nobody outside that courthouse was supposed to know. 2 weeks later, she was gone. October 2017. Lisbon, Portugal. Thousands of OneCoin promoters gather for their biggest event of the year, waiting for the Queen's keynote. She never shows. No call. No message. Her own staff can't reach her. Then, on October 25, 2017, security cameras at Sofia Airport capture Ruja Ignatova one last time. Boarding a Ryanair flight to Athens, Greece. She steps off that plane, and disappears from the face of the earth. No confirmed sighting since. Investigators believe she was tipped off about the sealed American warrant, possibly by a mole inside law enforcement. She had been listening as the FBI closed in on her boyfriend. She had a plan, passports, and a fortune waiting. The empire, incredibly, kept selling for months. Her brother, Konstantin Ignatov, took over the company. Until March 2019, when FBI agents arrested him at Los Angeles airport. Facing decades in prison, he talked. He told investigators about the fake blockchain, the money flows, and his sister's fear that someone close would betray her. One by one, the law caught up with everyone except the Queen. Sebastian Greenwood, the salesman, was tracked to a villa in Thailand, extradited, and sentenced to 20 years. Prosecutors say he personally pocketed around $300 million. Mark Scott, a former partner at a prestigious American law firm, was convicted of laundering $400 million through fake investment funds. 10 years. The brothers' cooperation bought him a lighter sentence. The Queen's chair sat empty. And that is where this story stops being a fraud case, and becomes a murder mystery. So, where is Ruja Ignatova? Theory 1 says she's alive. Plastic surgery, a new face, a new name. Sightings have been reported in Dubai, in Russia, in South Africa. Always unconfirmed. Theory 2 is darker. Bulgarian investigative journalists uncovered a police report containing an informant's claim that in November 2018, Ruja was murdered on a yacht in the Ionian Sea, on the orders of a man known as Taki, an alleged Bulgarian drug lord whose network had been protecting her. According to that claim, her body was cut apart and dropped into the sea. It has never been verified. But consider this. In 2023, a Bulgarian crime boss who had offered to help American investigators find her was murdered in Cape Town, along with his wife, before he could talk. The people who might know keep ending up dead. The FBI still lists her among its 10 most wanted fugitives, with a $5 million reward. And just weeks ago, in June 2026, a court in Guernsey released £8.5 million of her hidden money to compensate victims. The hunt for her fortune is very much alive, even if she may not be. So tell me in the comments. Do you think the Cryptoqueen is out there, sipping cocktails behind a new face? Or lying at the bottom of the Ionian Sea? If you want more true stories about how money corrupts, vanishes, and destroys, subscribe and turn on notifications. See you in the next one. Another dark money story.